Good evening and welcome to Irish Media Network News. I'm Joe Caulfield and tonight on the premiere episode of Irish Media Network's brand new political news show, we are going to be discussing the upcoming Irish election, due to be held on the 8th of February, the governmental race for office that will decide the direction our country goes in and who the people are that are going to be shaping your future. In order to present a complete and accurate insight into each party contesting the ruling majority, more than likely going to be supported in a coalition government by a second or multiple parties, tonight's programme will examine each party in isolation for you, recounting the history of the party, their political ideologies, and the agenda they will pursue were they to take office. We will then identify for you the key leaders in each party and those most likely to be appointed ministerial positions in the event of their party coming to office in February 2020. Not only that, but in the second segment of our show, we will delve into the financial backing and support afforded to each party. Where does the money come from to fund a political campaign? How is it apportioned? And who are the key contributors to each party? How does the state allot funding? And what limits are there to personal donation to the party coffers? By the end of tonight's episode of Irish Media Network News, you'll be given a clear understanding of the who, what, why and how of this election. Who will be contesting election 2020? Why are they running? And on what principles will they run? All so that you can decide if that matches how you think this country should be run. In the first segment of the show, we will use historical data from previous elections to identify for you the major political parties in Ireland and what share of the electoral market they currently have. In 2019, the local elections threw up some notable surprises. The drubbing of Fine Gael was the obvious one, but gains for the Green Party were not expected by some either. As we can see in our graph of the recent 2019 local elections market share, the winners were Fianna Fáil, the Green Party and the independent candidates. If we take the data and look at the dole, if the local elections are to be reflected in the current election, we see some interesting movers and potential partners for coalition government. As you can see, neither of the big two parties have a majority, so they would be left with the choice of partnering with each other or another party that can get them over the 50% threshold they need for a majority government. No one wants to form a coalition with Sinn Féin, with both major parties saying they would not enter partnership with them, while Labour remain on such a low percentage they offer no real power in the coalition. The Greens seem to be the perfect partner for either Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil if they do need a partner for each other. Now that you've seen who and what share the current landscape, let's have a more detailed look at each party. The leader of Fine Gael is Leo Varadkar. Fine Gael was founded in 1933 when Cumann Gael amalgamated with the National Centre Party, formerly the Farmers' Party, and the National Guard, also known as the Blue Shirts. Fine Gael are the incumbents, whose government relies on a confidence and supply agreement with Fianna Fáil. This means Fianna Fáil sustain the government by abstaining when necessary on budget votes and votes of no confidence. This is Fine Gael's second consecutive term in office for the first time in their history. They are a centre-right party. The leader of Fianna Fáil is Micheál Martin. They were founded by Eamon de Valera and his supporters when they left Sinn Féin so that they didn't have to adhere to Sinn Féin's abstentionist policy and could take their seats in the Free State Parliament on the 2nd of April 1926. They are also the second biggest party in the Dáil, though out of office for a second consecutive Dáil for the first time in their history. Following the last election, Fianna Fáil decided to break the deadlock of a hung parliament by entering into the confidence and supply agreement with Fine Gael. This is the first time Fianna Fáil have supported their main rivals in government, and it is a testament to how far they fell in the 2011 election, as refusal to enter a supply and confidence agreement would have seen the country return to the polls for a second election. They are also a centre-right party. The leader of the Green Party is Eamon Ryan. They were founded by Englishman Christopher Feats, who had studied at Trinity and worked as a teacher for 40 years in St Columba's College, Dublin. Having been all but wiped out in 2011, they managed to get 2 TDs back in the Dáil in 2016, though their rejuvenation has happened mostly at local level. In 2014, they got 3 city councillors and 3 county councillors elected. In 2019, they won a total of 49 seats. At the same time, they won 2 MEP seats. With the current global trends towards environmental issues, the future is looking brighter than ever for the Green Party. Going by the local elections earlier this year, they are likely to hold the balance of power after election 2020. They are a centre-left party with both moderate and far-left plans. The leader of Sinn Féin is Mary Lou McDonald. Sinn Féin was first proposed as a policy for Cumann na Gael, Party of the Irish, by Arthur Griffith in 1902 and was then adopted as the party's name in 1905. It was an umbrella organisation for all types of Irish nationalism other than the Home Rule Party. They are currently the largest party in the Dáil in opposition, but third largest overall, having successfully replaced Labour as the main parliamentary left-wing party in Ireland. After losing their talismanic leader, Gerry Adams, Sinn Féin have lingered between 13 and 18% in the polls and have gone through a poor European and local election cycle earlier this year. In recent polling, Ms MacDonald has been the least popular of all the main party leaders. They are a far left party. Now that we know the parties, we next need to meet the main players within each party. In this segment of the show, we will identify for you the established and experienced politicians, those with the battle scars and the long careers, the ones who successfully grasped and maintained power over a long time. Then we will give you an overview of the up-and-coming new blood, the hungry young candidates looking to make their mark and eager to establish themselves some power within their party, with either a state or a government ministry after election 2020. Now, let's talk about the lead characters in each party. Who are the ones trying to be leader of the party, and who are the young guns blazing their way to the top? Leo Varadkar was born and raised in Dublin. He is a qualified medical doctor and a graduate of Trinity College Dublin. His constituency is Dublin West, and he was elected to the Dáil on his very first attempt back in 2007. He is Ireland's first openly gay Taoiseach, and he was involved in a successful campaign to secure marriage equality in Ireland in 2017. Micheál Martin is a native of County Cork. He was Cork's Lord Mayor from 92 to 93. Since he entered national politics in 1989, the Cork South Central TD has served Fianna Fáil on the front bench and in 4 cabinet positions: Minister for Foreign Affairs 2008-2011, Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment 2004-2008, Minister for Health 2000-2004, and Minister for Education from 1997 to 2000. Eamon Ryan hails from Dublin and is currently representing the constituency of Dublin South Bay, covering the areas of the city such as Dublin 2, Dublin 4, Dublin 6, parts of Dublin 6W. He has previously served as a TD for Dublin South, and he was Minister for Communications, Energy and Natural Resources from 2007 to 2011. Mr. Ryan was a founding member of the Dublin Cycling Campaign, and before entering politics he ran 2 businesses, Irish Cycling Safaris and Belfast Bike Shop. Mary Lou MacDonald was born in Churchtown in Dublin, and she has been the president of Sinn Féin since 2018 after the departure of the long-time party leader Gerry Adams. Having previously been his vice president of Sinn Féin from 2009 to 2018, Ms MacDonald has also held the position of MEP for the Dublin constituency for 2004 to 2009 and has been a member of the Dáil since 2011. You have now been introduced to the most prominent parties in the country, the key figures within each party, and how likely they are to be in power at the end of February 2020. Now, what does that mean for you, the regular Irish person nationwide? What will be the guiding ideology of the party that rules your country? What parties have fundamentally conflicting ideologies and therefore will be incapable of forming a coalition, and what parties are likely to come together to form a coalition as a result of having similar manifestos? Manifestos are lengthy documents with a lot of hefty promises made by all parties when they release them. We are going to focus on just a few topics of importance and give a brief overview of where the 3 main parties stand on each matter. The issues we see as being of importance to you, the voting public, are housing, health, taxation, welfare and pensions, and climate change. Let's begin with housing. Fine Gael plan on building 35 to 40,000 new homes every year for 5 years. They also claim they will add at least a further 60,000 homes to social housing stock. It also plans to expand the Help to Buy scheme to €30,000 for purchasers, or a maximum of 10% of their home. Fianna Fáil will reduce development levies to help deliver 200,000 new homes by 2025. To combat homelessness, Fianna Fáil says it would ensure the required number of 50,000 new social housing units are made available as part of the Housing First strategy. The Green Party aim to urgently build public houses on public land to alleviate the housing crisis. In Section 4 of their manifesto, the Greens plan on replacing Rebuilding Ireland with the National Housing Plan to build public housing on public land directly procured by local authorities. They have plans on taxing vacant lands and buildings that could be used for housing. The Greens also have big plans for high quality green housing, protecting renters, and planning and community-led developments. Easily the second most talked about issue for voters this year is the health service, a topic that arises in every election. Here are the talking points of the three main parties. Fine Gael has committed to 2,600 new hospital beds, extending free GP care for all under 16. It also plans to add 5,000 new nursing staff as well as 1,000 consultants over the next 5 years. They also plan to cap daily charge at €10 per day for hospital car parks. Fianna Fáil have committed to 2,600 hospital beds and plans to significantly increase home care support hours to alleviate delayed discharges. Fianna Fáil, if in government, plans to recruit 1,000 extra consultants and 4,000 extra nursing staff over 5 years. They have plans to remove car park charges completely in all hospitals. Green Party aim to invest in GP services to ease the pressure on hospital waiting lists. The Greens wish to have, and this is a direct quote from their manifesto, a single-tier health system based on need rather than ability to pay. The fairest and most progressive way to achieve this is by funding it from general taxation. They do not give specific numbers of beds being added or new nursing staff figures like Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil, but they cover the same topics. One item of note is that they plan on reforming the health service executive and setting up local community health organisations, which will include a balance of community and patient participation as advised by healthcare professionals. Both Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil seem to have a very similar commitment basis, while the Green Party plan on reforming the HSE. Two certainties in life are health and taxes. We have shown how each party views health. Now let's look at how their tax plans add up. Fine Gael would raise the standard rate income tax band from $35,300 to $50,000. It would also raise the USC exemption threshold from $13,000 to $20,500. The party says it would raise earned income tax credit to match the PAYE credit. Fianna Fáil says it would increase the standard rate income tax band to $3,000 for single people and $6,000 for every couple. It would also reduce USC from 4.5% to 3.5% and increase earned income tax credit to align it with the PAYE credit. The Greens have laid out their taxation plans in 5.1 of their manifesto and say they make corporate tax sustainable at 12.5% rate by supporting the OECD process for global corporate tax reform, which aims to stop unfair tax avoidance practices. And they also plan on pursuing a wealth tax on individuals holding assets over €10 million. Some big differences when it comes to taxation. Now, let us look at welfare and pensions. Over the next 5 years, Fine Gael has said it would raise the state pension by €25 per week. Fine Gael are also looking at extending the age of retirement. Fianna Fáil have promised the exact same state pension increase with an extra €5 per year over 5 years. On the issue of age pensions, it said it would establish a committee to examine the matter. The Greens support the universal basic income model, replacing the current social welfare model. And last, but certainly not least, is the topic of climate change. This is a topic that has dominated global headlines, and this is now a very serious issue for many voters, especially the young voters out there watching the show tonight. Many have seen Greta Thunberg's passionate pleas to politicians over the past year, and it seems safe to say that the topic of global warming and climate change will become an ever greater matter of importance for voters. Fine Gael says it will increase renewable electricity to 70% by 2030. Over 10 years, it will raise the carbon tax currently at €26 per tonne by €6 each year, with every cent ring-fenced and invested in climate action. Fine Gael also says it would ban the sale of new petrol and diesel cars by 2030. Fianna Fáil also says it is committed to reaching a 70% target for renewable electricity by 2030. The party is committed to raising carbon tax to €80 per tonne by 2030. It would establish a €5 million Trees in Towns fund for local authorities. It would also aim to ban all petrol and diesel cars by 2030, with removal of fossil fuel cars by 2035. The Greens aim to gradually increase the carbon tax to €100 per tonne in a 10-year time frame. This is the highest carbon tax of all parties. The Greens also plan an ending of all fossil fuel subsidies, reducing the flight tax and working towards a global aviation and shipping tax. By far the biggest protectors of the environment when it comes to political action among all parties involved in the election. All manifestos published have been extensive and precise in detail, so the headline proposals we have mentioned tonight are only a small part of what each party says it can offer the country. But from what we have listed, it seems that both Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are very similar parties in their manifestos, despite what they may say. They're both centre-right parties and their fiscal policies are not that far apart, while the Greens come across as more of a centre-left party with some far-left ideas. We cannot see a majority victory for either Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil, so we see the inevitability of a coalition being formed between two of the three parties we've mentioned tonight. And that concludes our show tonight on the Irish General Election 2020. I hope that you now have a firm understanding of the current political landscape of our country and who are the main players in the game of Irish politics. On February 8th, 2020, we will have a new government of Ireland. And for better or worse, they will determine everything from the price of alcohol to our commitment to the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Those who hold power in government will tremendously influence your daily life, and that is why you have the power to choose those whom you want to lead us. It is important for you, the voter, to be informed in order to make that decision, and I hope tonight's episode has given you that information and will allow you to know who you are voting for in the Irish General Election 2020. For Irish Media Network News, I'm Joe Caulfield. Good night.